Chapter 17 of the Saga of Ragnar Lothbrok. They discussed the matter between themselves, and Ivar swore an oath to King Aila that he would not launch an attack against him and not devise plots to harm him, and he should own as much of England as could be spanned by the largest ox-hide he could get. Now Ivar got the hide of an old bull and had it softened, and he had it stretched 3 times. Then he had it cut apart as thinly as possible, and then he had the hairy side split from the flesh side. When this was done, that thong was so long that people marvelled at it. It hadn't occurred to anyone that it might become so long. Then he had it stretched out in a field and it encircled a plot of land so wide it was the size of a large town. On the outside he had the foundations marked for a great city wall. Then he got many carpenters and had many houses raised on that field, and there he had a great city built, called London Town. It is the largest and most famous of all towns in all the Northlands. Now that he had this town built, he gave away treasure, and he was so generous that he gave with both hands. He seemed so great in wisdom that everyone sought him for advice in difficult cases, and he settled all cases in such a way that each party thought that he came out on top. He made so many friends that he had friendship with every man. King Aila had much help from him in ruling the land, so that the king had him look after many of his affairs and cases, and didn't have to deal with them himself. When Ivar had proceeded so far with his plans that his intentions seemed completely peaceful to everyone, he sent men to meet with his brothers, with a request to send him as much gold and silver as he asked for. And when these men came to meet the brothers, they spoke their message and told how his plan was coming along, because no one could figure out what sort of strategy he was plotting. The brothers realized that he wasn't in his customary state of mind. They sent as much money as he had asked for. When the messengers came to Ivar, he gave all his money to the most important men in the land, and so he lured away King Aila's fighting men. They all swore that they would stay home peacefully, even if Aila might go to war later. When Ivar had drawn up this force under his command, he sent men to meet with his brothers and tell them that he wanted them to raise the levy from all the lands that they ruled and summon every man that they had. When this message came to the brothers, they quickly realized that Ivar thought that they now had their best chance of gaining a victory. They summoned their men from all of Denmark and Goatland and all the kingdoms that they ruled and got an overwhelming force together and assembled their levy outdoors. Then they set their ships' courses for England, sailing both by night and by day, for they wanted as little news of their coming as possible to go before them. King Aila was told the news of war. He summoned his men but got few, because Ivar had drawn a great many men out from under him. Now Ivar went to meet King Aila and said that he would fulfill the oath that he had sworn. I cannot change my brother's plans, but I can try to meet them and find out whether they will halt their forces and do no more harm than they have already done. Going to meet his brothers, and he strongly encouraged them to advance quickly as they could and hold the battle as soon as possible, because the king has a much smaller force. They answered that he didn't need to encourage them, and that they were in the same mood as before. Now Ivar went to meet with King Aila and told him that they were much too eager to fight and too furious to want to listen to his words, and when I tried to reach a truce between you and them, they howled in reply, "Now I must fulfill my oath that I will not fight against you. I and my men will peacefully stay nearby, but the battle will go with you, however it may turn out." King Aila saw the brothers' forces, and they advanced with such fury that it was a wonder. Then Ivar said, "Now it's time, King Aila, for you to deploy your forces, and I guess that they will attack you fiercely for a while." And where the armies met each other, there was a great battle, and the sons of Ragnar charged right through King Aila's ranks. They were so enraged that they only thought of doing as much damage as possible, and the battle was both long and hard. And in the end, King Aila and his forces turned and fled. and he was taken prisoner. Ivar was nearby, and he said they should now bring about his death. My advice now, he said, is that we remember the sort of death that he ordered for our father. Now the man who is the most skilled woodcarver shall carve an eagle on his back as carefully as possible, and that eagle shall turn red with his blood. The man who was summoned for this task did as Ivar asked, and King Aila was terribly wounded before the task was completed. He now laid down his life, and it seemed to the brothers that they had avenged their father Ragnar. Ivar said that he would give them the kingdom that they had all ruled together, but he wanted to rule over England.